I took a shower this morning. Look at the rings in her eyes. Uh, so this is not going to be a long video. I wanted to tell you something. I know that many of you all know that I got the crafting bug last night. I couldn't rest. My body was not allowing me to rest. I was restless. Had a really weird energy vibe yesterday. Had headaches off and on. Just felt really restless. My RSD was causing issues at 2 a.m. My left leg stopped working, and David had to help me get to the bathroom. My hands were having issues. After all I'd crafted last night, because I got on like a crafting tear, because at about 8:30, 9 o'clock, I didn't know what to do with my energy anymore, and I felt so bad even laying in bed. I thought, well, I'm going to be useful. So I got up to craft, and as I crafted, I finished a few items, was very proud of what they looked like, and then I sat down and felt almost driven to make a dream catcher. And from all the animosity and all the ick that I was feeling in my body as I made this dream catcher, I kind of felt better. And it came together so easily, and it was all made out of spare parts that was not planned to go together. And it was like my favorite one I've ever made. And I thought that was way too easy. That came together so easy, took like no time whatsoever, and ended up so beautiful. And I thought that was so strange, and I was so proud of what I had created, but I still didn't feel easy. I still felt restless. And David got home from work. We tried to go to bed. I had all of my RSD body issues, and at 3:49, that's the last time I looked at the clock, but it took me a little bit longer to actually fall asleep. And I had this strange, crazy dream. I dreamed that my family, and if you know my family, this is going to be crazy. I dreamed that my family had rented out an amusement park. You're never going to see my whole family in an amusement park. We don't do amusement parks. Most of us are big old people, and most of us are grounded, and we don't enjoy testing gravity, so we don't go to amusement parks. But my family had rented out an amusement park. Hang on, Nudie, hang on. And like all my family, people that were no longer with us, and my family that's still with us, and we were all having just one heck of a day. We were all having a great time. But then I noticed my granny, who my mother has taken care of for the last couple of years in hospice care, and because Mama's surgery was impending, they had to transition her a few weeks ago back to a care facility. And that's always difficult for them. But I noticed my granny standing in the line for like the biggest, most outlandish, supposed to be fun but kind of scary ride. And I was like, that's not a ride I would even ride right now. And I was like, hey, Granny, that one might be a little too much for you. Are you okay with that? Are you really sure? And she smiled at me and she said, oh, yeah, I've been waiting to ride this one for a while. I'm going to love this. And I was like, okay. Because when I was little, my granny was always the mischievous one. And I've got her cheeks and her little mannerisms, and we got each other. We just understood each other. And I was like, okay, your call, lady, And I woke up, and my husband was gone. He had to work an early shift, but it was too early for him to be at work. And I was like, where's my husband? I didn't even grab my cell phone because I immediately had to let the dog out and go to the bathroom. By the time I got out of the bathroom, David called. And I said, let me tell you about this dream I had. He said, wait until I get home. I'm almost home. I went to get breakfast. I have to talk to you. And I was like, okay. And he walked in the door, and the old wives tell us don't tell about a dream before breakfast or to come true. And I guess that's why he wanted me to wait till he got breakfast home. But when he walked to the door, he looked at me and he said, your mama got hold of me. She couldn't reach you. My cell phone was dead. And he said, your granny passed away in the wee hours of the morning. And I looked at him and I said, I think I knew that already. Let me tell you about the dream I had. And so I had my little cry pity party, but then at the end of the day, I started laughing, remembering her and thinking about all the funny things that she did when I was little. Because I would actually fake being sick to stay home from school with my granny, because I adored my granny. My granny was the best granny. And So I went and took a shower, and my mail came in yesterday that I didn't feel like opening, and I was opening the mail. And last week I had ordered a dress. And you ever order stuff and like you forget you order it? I do that. I do that when I can't sleep. I had ordered a dress and it was a black dress, and I thought, well, I just took a shower. I'm clean. I'm going to try this on, see if it fits. If I need to return it, I can get to the post office before David goes to work. And he came in because he was getting ready for work, and I said, "Can you zip this up? Can you help me get this on?" He goes, "You haven't bought black in like 5 years since," he's like, "as soon as you quit your court job," he's like, "you said you were not going to ever buy black." And so, and I don't know, wear a lot of vibrant colors. And I said, "I know." He said, when did you buy this?" And I was like, "Ordered it last week." And he goes, "It's like, I'm never going to question you again." He's like, "Just somehow you just know these things." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I do. I have strange things. I have strange things happen to me all the time." And I think a lot of probably my health and the struggles I've been having the last few weeks was probably me tapping into knowing that she was probably struggling and preparing for her journey. And I think that dream catcher that I wove last night, because the communities would often sit up in wakes, and they would make things as their loved ones passed, and those things would be passed down through the families. And so it was just whatever the women wanted to make. They would start making, either they would make a feather blanket or a fur blanket, or little things to hang in the teepees and stuff. And I think maybe that dream catcher was me processing that and working through that energy. So that dream catcher that I made last night will not go anywhere. It will stay with me forever. The ceremonial sticks and stuff I made with the intent for someone in the native tribe to be able to purchase those and use those. So those will still sell, but the dream catcher that I made last night will stay with me forever. And I called my mother to comfort her, to let her know about my dream. And she said, "I just left the funeral home and made the arrangements." She said, "I did view the body." And I said, "Well, I said, you're way ahead of me." I said, "I'm sorry, I had a rough night." She goes, "It's okay, I understand." And I hadn't got to tell her about my dream yet. And she goes, she said, I'm okay. And I said, "You sound better than, I thought you'd sound." She goes, "I wanted to see her." And she had a big smile on her face. And I said, "Mom, let me tell you about my dream I had last night." So while I'm sad because the selfish me will miss her, I'm glad she's no longer restricted to her bed. I'm glad she's able to speak now. I'm glad she's free from, all the pain she's been in. And she's mourned her husband that died 44 years and 3 months ago. He died of a brain tumor, and they loved each other. And she's mourned him, pined for that man. And I would I would never tell my mother this. I would always tell my mother, "Mom, you need to have a talk with her and tell her if she needs to go, it's okay." I said, "She may be waiting for you to tell her it's okay to go." And she said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, every time I visit and I leave, I always tell her I love her. And then if she needs to go home to Papa, she can go. It's okay." And I said, "I think she's staying because she knows that you're trying so hard to take care of her, that she doesn't want to disappoint you and leave on your shift, And so just as soon as they got her settled into the new home down there, which was an excellent facility, I think that was her way of saying, "Okay, now I don't have to put my daughter through this that I know would hurt my daughter, and I'm going to exit." And my mother said, she said, I'm sad I wasn't there." And I said, "Mom," I said, "there's an old movie somewhere that I heard this line," and I said, "it stuck with me." I said, "A lady always knows when to make an exit." And I said, she made her exit. And I said it was right for her. So the family's doing pretty good. She was in her 90s. There's you when they age like this, you're prepared. I will miss not being able to irritate her to make her talk, because I was the only one that could really make her respond, because I could irritate her. But I'm just happy that she's not suffering, that she's not, because she had turned into such a shell of who she was, and she was always such a vibrant, mischievous, cantankerous, loud, just always outside, always in the garden. Her most favorite thing to do when I was little, was to terrify me by telling me to go pick her a bouquet of flowers, and she would send me to the touch me not patch, which, if you touch me nots, they just fall apart. And she would literally get the biggest kick out of watching me almost come to tears by trying to pick her a bouquet and these flowers just falling apart. I have that same sick sense of humor, and I know I got it from her. I know I did. So it's a sad time for family, but it's also kind of a resolution because we were all anticipating this with her health and her age and the dementia and Alzheimer's. Although the last 2 years she had been healthier than she had ever been because Mom took such immaculate care of her. And I thought it was weird the last time I visited that she actually looked at the camera and smiled for photos because she had never. Most time people with Alzheimer's dementia don't make that contact and that they don't understand that concept, and she did last time. I think she's known for a while that she was waiting to make her exit, and I think she was just waiting because I think she wanted to make it as easy for my mother as possible. Because my mother was like, my purpose will keep her alive. I'm like, Mom, it's like a Model T Ford. It's only going to go for so long, but we're doing pretty good. My aunt Angie came in to cook and care for Mom and Dad while they're running and doing, because I'm still kind of sluggish. But so next Tuesday will be the services and the burial, and of course my daughter is way down in southern Georgia, and they already told her they can't give her the time off from her job and nor her husband, so they won't be able to come up. But we're one of those families that's blessed that when you start trying to find pallbearers, you have to cull people because we have too many strong, capable, family members that will jump right to it. So David is going to be a pallbearer. I anticipate Lane being a pallbearer. And I have to say, I'm going to miss her, but it's selfish of me to have wanted her to stay here in the shape that she was in. And so I made peace with that. But I think because of my own health struggles, I look at this as more of a journey than an end. And I laughed with my little cousin. She raised my little cousin, and it's really hit my little cousin hard. She's not little. She's 30 now, but I mean, she's little compared to me. And I said, I tried to be sad this morning for a few minutes, but then I realized she's probably already found Bob Barker, spun the wheel, chatted the Barker's beauties for when they started to shorten their skirts on TV, in the mid 80s. Now she knows the endings to all the soap operas that I would not let her finish because I wanted to watch TV, And I said, I'm sure she's probably already took a train ride with Papa and she's putting out a garden in glory, and by the time I get there, it'll be just a blink of an eye for her, and she'll have weeds for me to pull. So I've in the memory context of this, remembering her, I've laughed more today than cried. And I sit here and I think that's a blessing because most people probably could not do that. So Mom is doing all the photographs and stuff for the display, and she decided to go with her and Papa's wedding photo. She said, because I believe that the most important thing about this is that she's finally back with him. And so the most prominent photo will be their wedding picture, which she looks like a gorgeous, gorgeous model in that photo. And I probably shared it before, but if I can find it again, I'll share it on my community page. All I know is I had a very unsettled and frustrated energy the last several days, like something was brewing. And y'all know I've been cantankerous as heck. Like, I've been on edge. Like, I was pushing people and creating boundaries and being like, don't come around me and huff right now. You go the other way. No bad energy. Go away. I'll give you bad energy if you're going to give me bad energy because I'm cleansing my plot. Stay away from me. I'm busy because I really felt like I was working through something. And so I've been a little caustic lately. And I think it was because I felt there was a transition coming. And I think that my crafting vendetta that I went through yesterday was processing that energy and in my own way, keeping the tradition alive of doing the wake where you prepare something that memorializes the person you're losing. So that dream catcher will never leave me. Clara, I appreciate your your condolences and thoughts. And I have to say, this is the first time I've lost somebody that I'm not sad. I'm not sad because the women in my family live long lives. I have no desire to live that long. No, no. And she had been bedbound for the last 7 or 8 years. She had required wheelchair or the last 3 or 4 the sling to move her and put her in different seats and and get her out of the bed. And it just that was the woman that would grab the hoe and go out and hoe 4 rows of taters and 3 rows of beans and 6 rows of corn and sing songs with me so that I could sing an echo so that she could. I thought she was just singing with me, but she would always make me sing the echo so that she knew where I was, because she knew I would run off because, hello, have you met me? And she was just always outside, always working. She had such amazing sewing skills and made the most beautiful hand-sewn Barbie clothes. She was known for her like immaculate bridal, huge Barbie dresses with veils and everything. She could sew anything, and I wish I was a 100th as talented as her in the sewing realm. My mother's just as talented. But I spent a lot of my childhood with this woman, and she shaped a lot of who I am, and I'm very proud of that because it taught me a lot about my great grandma and the different bloodlines that we have in us. So I'm very calm about it. It's sad when I'm doing a message about my grandmother passing and we have to retract statements. White trash, Wishland, Dixie. I hope you didn't say anything inappropriate. I hope your heart's in the right place. I mean, I like your name. I think it's funny. I've probably said that phrase myself. And this is just my perspective on life and what I've been going through the last few days and kind of how I felt and how I think it all has come to a culmination. And I think that a lot of us, I'm lucky. I think I'm lucky the way I was raised, close to nature, close to my family, close to God, just recognizing there's a creator to everything. I'm lucky, I'm blessed. So I have a very, I guess, a healthier view than most of death. But I can't imagine someone wanting to be a turd when someone comes on and talks about death. Yeah, she had a very long life, and to me it was sad because she mourned her husband for so many years. So I'm tickled that they're together. Pocahontas, thank you for saying. I said the word Indian the other day, and somebody said, "Oh, you're a bigot," and I said, "No, I'm an Indian." It's like I'm a Native American. I'm Native. I'm an Indian. I'm Cherokee. I'm Lenape. I'm from the Delaware tribe. Hello, that I can. Hello, and it's like, stop making all these words bad. Stop. We're not going to be able to say anything but participle phrases here soon. Adverbs are going to be cut completely off because they're going to be too disingenuous, or we're not. They're not going to be too straightforward enough. It boggles my mind how people in the vocabulary is changing, and it's just like, stop trying to see the bad in everything. So thank you for saying that. Because I said it the other day, and somebody's like, "Oh," and I was like, "No, really, I'm talking about me." She did everything by herself, and she said she would never remarry because she never wanted to carry another man's name. She was so proud of her husband. She loved him so much. He died. He had a brain tumor, and she donated his brain to science because it was one of the first like spiderweb brain tumors they had seen in this area. And so she did all these amazing things that show her strength, and she put out a garden every year. She maintained her own property until she was very old. And and it wasn't until she got into her 80s, mid 80s, that we really, she was bedbound because even into her late 70s, she lived on her own. So yeah, I hope I have just a little bit of that strength. Because especially with my disorder, I worry about how long I will be able to stay at home, and I come from a long line of strong women and stubborn women, so that's going to help. But I'm always amazed to think about how much she did on her own, without asking anyone else, and never anticipating help. And she would always give me jobs, and she always did things the hard way. Like, she didn't have a weed eater. She had those big garden scissors that you went around the edge of the house, and that was my job when I visited. And but I don't think I ever mowed her yard until I was well into my teenage years, because she kept it mowed herself. And then later in life, mom and dad helped, but I mean, she was and her garden was it was like an acre. One little woman had like a half acre to an acre garden, and canned it all, put it all up. I mean, she was just amazing. So I've thought about her, and it's made me, instead of worrying about her and worrying about her sickness and worrying about how she's doing and the progression of the dementia and the Alzheimer's and the muscles slowing down and the eating slowing down and all the things that I've worried about the last little bit, as I've thought of her today, I've thought about all these amazing, wonderful attributes that she had, and I've celebrated her. And it's been sad at times, but I have 98% of the day celebrated her. And I thought, gee, I'm lucky, because I don't think a lot of people get that opportunity. So, those hand clippers, buddy, they were pain in the butt, weren't they? And they were dangerous. Like, you couldn't hand that to a child now. Somebody would put a criminal charge on you for child abuse. Oh, Lord. But she always gave me jobs, made me feel busy. And I thought forever that she always kept baby taters. So every time I would stay with her, she would make me green beans and baby taters. It was my favorite meal, and cornbread. And I always thought that this amazing woman always had baby taters that she would dig up for me. No, she would take the big taters and cut them into baby taters. And I just thought she always had baby taters fresh out of the garden. I was stupid. But it was a woman that will do things like that for her grandkids, just to give them the illusion of this perfect love. If you love that, and you love it enough that you cherish it when you hear that I'm going to recreate it, even if I have to hide what I'm doing, just so you feel, that intense love when you're here. I mean, she was an amazing woman. I lost my other grandmother several years ago, and she was just as stoic and poised in totally opposite ways. But I had two matriarchs that were strong, independent, tell it like it is women. And so imagine that. Can't imagine where I got all my ticks from. So I'm lucky. Yeah, they got the job done before the weed eaters. And I remember I was so little, I'd have to use both hands. And then finally I got to where my hand could actually work them. But she did everything herself and cultivated the most beautiful flowers. She could grow elephant ears like nobody's business. Like, I could hide, even as big as I am today, I could hide in her elephant ears. She could grow anything. And she got that from her mother, my great grandmother, who was the one that terrified me because she was still very rustic. But it makes you think back of the qualities that you inherit from the people that have created you along the way. And you see the little snippets you get from everybody, and how you're really a puzzle, and how you're really not just one person, but you're a conglomerate of all these people and all these personalities that have forged lives and forged existences. And so, how can you feel lonely when you look at life that way? And you have to sit there and think that today, people do horrible things to themselves because they feel lonely. And I think it's because we've cut ourselves off from our family. We've cut ourselves off from being able to celebrate our culture. We've cut ourselves off from being able to celebrate who we are and dig deep into our history. There always has to be a negative. You always have to feel as though you need to apologize for something now. You can't just celebrate yourself. Well, screw all y'all. I'm going to celebrate myself. I come from awesome people. You know, I don't care if 5 generations back somebody made a stupid decision. I've got like 98% awesome positivity from my clan, you know? So, I'm not going to sit here and worry about the 2% because I can't judge that generation on this generation's rules and laws because the land and the world changes. But you have to look at what the culmination of who you are and be thankful and embrace it. And I think people not being able to do that is why we have such a mental health issue, why we have such a loneliness and depression issue in this nation, and why we look at death so terrifyingly in this nation, because other nations don't, other cultures don't, you know. And you sassy girl. um so but I mean, I just I've sat here and had like little huge epiphanies today, and I'm just thankful. I'm thankful that a member of my family going on her final journey gave me all the thoughts and the thankfulness that I've had today, as opposed to just sadness and anxiety. And so I hope that other people are able to find the same peace that I found today. Hi, Daniel. It's been a rough day today, Daniel. My grandmother passed away early this morning, but she's very old, had a good life, and I've had a wonderful time today remembering her and celebrating her, and with the way that I was raised to view death and the journey and the land beyond. I'm not really mourning her. I'm just like, she's setting up her garden in glory, and I'll be weeding it when I get there. So I have no fear that she is never going to be far from me. She's always going to be within my heart, and I know that I will see her again. So, but she never had a vaccine in her life. Never got the mumps, measles. All of her kids did, and they were vaccinated. She never got the mumps, measles, nothing. The first vaccine she had was the nursing home forced the dib, and I threw a fit about that. You want to know what a hissy fit is? I threw about 5 of them that day. That was the first vaccine she ever had. This woman was tough as a pine knot. Like, she was the women that crossed the plains and set up homesteads, and by God, there was just a task to be done, and we just did it, and that's just how she looked at it. And I'm very proud to come from that stock. And I was worried about my mom, because my mom she's just utter devotion pales to describe my mother, in that regard. And I was really worried that this was really going to hit Mom way too hard, but actually I think Mom has made peace with it. And she said when she went to do the arrangements, she requested the view of the body, and she said she had a huge smile on her face. And that's when I said, Mom, let me tell you about my dream. So, and I'm going to miss her, but I have laughed and enjoyed the memories today more than I have mourned. And I think that's important. I think that's very important. I haven't slept, though. I'm not caught up on sleep, and I look like, whoo. Like, I know that I have to do a family get-togethers and a funeral and burial. And so the first thing I did was do a pickup order for later. So, because David's at work early today, he's working an early shift on a weekend. Concealer, setting powder. It's like things I need: concealer in 2 shades, setting powder. Because between my sickness I've had for a few weeks and this, I really look, I'm going to have to do some really good techniques to look passable, so that people don't look at me and go, what's wrong with you? But I am perking up, so I know I'm on the mend. And it's a big deal. I was just a few years older. I was about 28 when I was about 28, 29 when I lost my other grandmother. And it was a shock. She had just had double knee replacement and had gotten through the rehabilitation, had gotten home, was actually walking and able to get around and actually drive herself places, was just getting back to life. And then she had blood clots go to her lungs and just, she was gone. We found her on the couch, sitting up on the couch, just as in her robe. Such a southern, like, Golden Girls moment, in her robe and slippers, and she looked as peaceful as could be. But it was, we knew exactly what had happened. But that shocked us because we were not prepared to lose her at all. So that really, and I lost my grandpa several years before that. And he was the only grandpa I had because my other grandpa died when I was 10 months old due to the brain tumor. And that's why I said Granny mourned her husband, for 44 years and 3 months, because, that's how long he's been gone. I only have like 2 pictures with my papa, and I cherish them. Oh my gosh, bless your heart. I had all 4 removed at the same time as well, but I was young and that sucked. So you rest and watch for impaction and don't do anything that could cause impaction, because that hurts. Gypsy, honey, your family's not gone because you're my family. Yeah, Abby just went through that, bless her heart. But she's doing phenomenal, though. So Tuesday are the arrangements, which, Gypsy, I don't know what day you're coming in, but if you're coming in, you're welcome to come with me. I know it's an odd place to introduce you to people, but I mean, I consider you family anyway. Literally, the burial is going to be a mile and a half from my house. So we're all going to do it just in one day because we have an older family. So we're trying to be easy, and we have a lot of people have to travel in, so we're trying to be easy for everybody. I went ahead and ordered a granny wreath to go beside the casket and then on the graveside, and I made it all green with different white shades of flowers. And I should have been a turd and said put touch me nots on there, but I didn't. I can like feel Granny rolling her eyes. So, but I'm blessed to have this view, and I wish more people had this view. Yeah, I should have said like put touch me nots on it. And then let's watch everybody stress out every time they say, "Oh, isn't that pretty?" Or your people have to move it. I'm a turd. But it's going to be a somber day, but it's not going to be a heartbreaking day because she's not in that bed anymore, and she's whole again. She's not the shell of the person that I had watched her become lately. She's whole again. And like I told Mom, I was like, she's already spun the wheel from The Price is Right, met Bob Barker, chided the Barker beauties. She knows all the answers and all the prices on The Price is Right. She now knows how all the soap operas ended that I never would let her finish because I would always change the channel. She's probably already out working in a garden and spending time with Papa. And so I think about that, and I'm like, how selfish it would be of me to cry and say, I wish she was still here. No. She deserves that happiness. So her journey moved on from this realm early this morning. And one day we will all follow. And I hope that people just are capable to have a healthy view of this and stop fearing death and stop stigmatizing it and stop thinking it's something you have to constantly be snot-nosed and crying about, because there is a lot of resolution and a lot of contemplation and a lot of growth that comes at these times. But yeah, there definitely sometimes it conflicts with like how I was raised in other ways, but you can always kind of make some peace with it. Um, but I don't think you could ever truly be a part of people whose DNA created you. We're all linked. I still carry part of them. A woman, as soon as she starts producing eggs, I mean, she's born with the DNA, the egg DNA from like her mother and grandmother, and then she produces her own eggs. So she has like 3 generations of DNA in her ovaries as soon as her ovaries, start creating. So it's like the body's amazing, and you can't unlink yourself from your blood lineage. So like it's like, how can you be separate from something that is still within your body, that is still within your cell structure, your blood? Every cell in your body was created by all these generations. You carry it all, so how can you truly be separated from them? And we were all, end of the day, molded from probably the same hunk of clay. So it's kind of like, I don't feel that I'm ever separate from those Alus. I think you just have to always keep them alive in your memory. And there are funny things that happen, and I'm like, okay, message received. Know who that came from, And I have days like that, and I just kind of go on with it. But last night was definitely one of the weirder nights and one of the weirder dreams. And I don't normally have like outlandish dreams like that. When I do dream, I have dreams, but I don't have like very weird, like, boom, there's the impact line. I don't have those. And last night was very much a okay dream. That was one of those, something's fixing to happen. And then, of course, by the time I had woke up, it had happened. I believe that. I believe, yeah. I think we all have special gifts. I think a lot of people, they have allowed society and modern medicine to blip them off the radar. But I think we all have the ability to have special gifts. And I mean, like, they basically try to breed our sixth sense out of us. And you really have to work at connecting, with Earth, with nature, and understanding, and I'm not saying you have to follow any specific religion, but you have to understand your existence from the perspective of a creator, and understand that you're not at the top of the pinnacle of the mountain. There is something above you. And I would hate to think that I'm the top of the pinnacle of the mountain, and I am the, wouldn't it be horrible if I was the Alpha and the Omega? Lord have mercy, the world would be in trouble. So I find comfort in knowing there's somebody else that I am held accountable to, that I also, and inherently follow rules and beliefs to try to have a good life, and because I'm being held accountable. So when I see people that have no real idea of a creator or any kind of spiritual, ideology, I'm like, ooh. I mean, those are those stories of people where you see darkness and blackness and pain and turmoil. Because if you have an empty void, just like if you have empty land, every rogue, transient animal will try to come in and claim it. If you have an empty soul, I imagine the same thing occurs. So I stake mine very firmly that I have a creator I am accountable to, and the acreage is not up for sale. That's how I roll. And I don't like push anybody to believe my religion, or think that my religion is the only religion. It's just a higher accountability is a very good thing. I would love to see Savannah, and my daughter has really impressed that upon me as well. Yeah, I would love to see it. I have no desire to go to New Orleans, though. I don't get good vibes from New Orleans. Like, I thought about going there, and then, but I just don't get good vibes from New Orleans. So I have no desire to ever go to New Orleans. But now Savannah, my daughter, is just like, she said there is a scariness, she said, but it's overridden by the beauty. And she said, you just have to experience it, Mom. And I'm like, okay, bucket list. Now since you're down that way. Maybe it will happen if I can get to where I can travel a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's definitely a place I need to visit. So, but I just wanted to come on here and share with you kind of the culmination of, because I've been off the last few days. Y'all have known it. I've been like, the last few weeks have been rough for me, but the last few days I've been off. I've been really, really just kind of not my normal low base pH. I've been highly acidic and highly aggressive. And it's because I felt that I've needed to protect my turf more than normal, because I've been sick and because I felt as though I've needed to. And so when people have tried to bring negativity, and I'm like, oh, no, let me show you negative. You just march your little fanny back out there, son. You're going to be negative somewhere else. Anybody going to be negative here? It's going to be me. And that's just kind of how I roll. It's like, welcome to Kong Island. My name is Kong. This is my channel. I get to dictate the feels, So when people have been hateful, I've been like, hey, listen, let me teach you about how to be hateful, okay? Take notes. And I'm normally not like that, but I have been very protective lately. And I thought maybe it was just where I was getting over that sickness, but then I felt some other restless vibe. And now I know, now it all makes sense. So maybe I will go back to my more pleasant self. I'm never fully pleasant, to my more pleasant self. But now it all, I like finally got the puzzle pieces all together. I wish I could get more at one time. This slipping one every 3 days, I'm not good. I need a bigger picture. Wheel of Fortune was never my thing. I always needed to buy a vowel. So I wish I got more puzzle pieces at once, but now I see the big picture and I get it. Clara, if I ever get to go there, I will document documents. So you will feel like you've been there. Yeah, I've been handling a lot of really horrible, ugly insurance issues and a lot of ugly people. And I have really had to put up a very big energy wall and demand respect the last few weeks. It's been hard. So I've had a lot going on the last few weeks. So that's probably why I've been such a turd. And y'all, there's always one in every crowd. Sometimes it's even me. I will point out the turd, even if it is me. And the last few days, it has been me. So, got no problem saying that. Normally, I'm not so aggressively, boundary driven, but the last few days I have been. So, So hopefully we can rotate and somebody else can be the bigger turd in the room now, because I hope my time's over and we can rotate and I get a break. So if I ever get mobile and I ever say I'm coming anywhere close to y'all let me know. We will absolutely do even if we do a gas station meetup for burritos. Is that what Gypsy said the other day? That cracked me up. We'll find somewhere to say howdy. I actually think that I've either watched a documentary or somebody on YouTube that has talked about that book, or I may have seen something on one of those like Gaia channels about that. But I'll go Google it, and if I can find it on Goodwill Books, I'll buy it, because I love to buy books. The book I'm reading now, which is the book that book about how the Bible changed Western civilization and the absence of the Bible has basically ruined Western civilization. It's blowing my mind. So I'm highlighting stuff to share with you all, and as my world calms down and I have more time, I will share the things that I think are just profound. Right now, I'm just discombobulated with everything I've got to do. Well, see, now you're going to have to email me, watersworkload@gmail.com, and you're going to have to tell me your story. So email me and tell me your story, because I'd love to hear it. But gosh, I've talked for so long. Oscar's sitting on the carpet in front of the door. I know he has to go out. I need to try to get a few things together, and Dave is working an early shift, so I'm actually going to get to sit on the front porch and watch the sunset with my husband tonight. Like, I know it's been what would be a sad day, but it is it's been like almost a day where everything kind of has been and worked. And I'm like, the peace that I have felt today, I've been very thankful for. And I'm thankful I get to sit on the porch tonight with my husband and watch the sunset. That I never get to do that because of his shift work. So many things have gone right today. And I'm thankful for it. Thankful for it, yeah. Tag me, send a Facebook message to Hillbilly Furs, and I will link with my personal profile with you so that we can talk. I try to hide from some people because I don't want to be like totally out there, but you've been with me long enough. I trust you. Plus, half y'all know how mean I am, so. Oh, Lord. But yeah, send a message to Billy Furs, and later today I'll tag you in so we can chit-chat. But, Gypsy, don't change any plans. Even if you just come here and sit while I'm gone to the funeral, and that's fine. Don't change any plans because it'll be from like 12:31 to like 4 will be the max time that I'm gone because it's all just like 3 to 4 miles from my house. The burial plot is literally 1.5 miles from my house. So don't change any plans. I still want you to be here. It'd be great to have a friend here and to kind of keep, energy going in the right way. And life doesn't stop for death. And even though there's been a death, I don't want to stop smiling and laughing if I have the ability to have a friend here and make memories. That's what I want to do. If there's anything you learn from death, it's that you should live. So don't change your plans. Don't. Thank you, Jesus lover. Yeah, this has been a weird video, but a good one, and so it'll be interesting for you. Okay, well, I'm blonde, so still send me a thing on Hillbilly Furs, and I'll find you. Yeah, I'm absolutely sure, Gypsy. Don't change a thing. Do not change a thing because I'm looking forward to it so much. Granny wouldn't want me to change anything, and everything's going to be taking. I mean, literally, there's nothing going to be taking place more than 3 or 4 miles from my house, and we're doing it all in one day because we have a lot of senior family members and a lot of people have to travel in, so that's easier. And I still want you here, and and Granny would be like, "Don't change your plans, young lady," because I can hear her now be like, don't give up a day of laughter, for a day of mourning when there's no reason to mourn, and, we're just going to lay her to rest and say, see you in a little while. I'll be there to weed the garden. I know you're putting out in glory because I know it's going to be a doozy. And I'm going to come back home and continue with life because that's what you have to do. And, and maybe I just, because of my health issues, have a much better handle on this than some. It will be a somber day, but I'm not in any way going to have to stop and like take bereavement and, no. I had a very wonderful relationship with my granny. I knew she'd been very ill for several years. I knew she was very ready to go for several years. And I knew that she was very ready to be reunited with her husband and to go home. So I'm not in any way going to have a mental breakdown. I feel in many ways that today's been a day to celebrate because she's happy. She's happy. Okay, thank you. I'll look for it. And I'm now going to go let Oscar out and try to tame the frizz in my hair and start a little bit of an early dinner for Dave. My whole schedule's off because of his shift change today. But just keep us in your prayers because, my family, some of the younger, the ones are probably going to struggle with this because she was such a matriarch. But for the most part, we're all doing really well. And, this is a great time to have a talk with your family about beliefs, views, opinions, ideas, because the more you talk about something, the less you fear it. So the best way to help younger people, children, or family members that are struggling with these things is to talk about them and get it all out in the open and stop making it such a scary thing. Because I look at death as the second most natural thing you do, second to being born. And being born, I don't remember anything horrible about that, so I'm not anticipating death to be anything horrible either. I'm actually looking more at it as a page turning in a book instead of a book shutting. So talk to people and develop your own ideas and your own beliefs, and don't live in fear about things that you can't change. Because then you live your whole life in fear and you've ruined your whole life. You're given a life, do something with it, and life would not be worth living if it didn't have an expiration date. Because my God, I think about like immortality, like on this earth immortality, and I'd be like, oh my, I would get so sick of all this political crap and this dissension in society, and no. And so I am so thankful that's not how things work, that there is at least some shift in the dynamic, because, other people think that, oh, yeah, I want to be frozen and want to be brought back. Why? It doesn't look like humanity's going to do anything, truly positive or provocative anytime in the near future. Yes, I have a wicked sense of humor, but so I kind of look at this as a page turner instead of the book ending. So I have a different view, but it's good for people to talk about things and to get it out there. Yeah, it used to be like 33, 35 was a rich old life, now we make it much longer, and so, just be thankful for the days you're given, make them count. Some of my days suck because of my medical disorder, but on the days I'm able to laugh, I'm laughing. I'm going to be laughing, You got adopted in a Creek Squad. Creek Squad is primarily like 95% awesome, amazing people. There's 5% that I question their motives, but 95% of them are awesome, amazing, salt of the earth people. And like you can tell a Creek Squad person from someone that's just there to be a turd. And everybody is all like, she doesn't really love Ron. And I'm like, listen, you can question somebody and be concerned for somebody, and that actually is real, genuine devotion and love. It's you people that are blindly allowing him to run over cliffs and have these problems without going, are you okay? That's the people that concern me. So people that are like, you don't really like Ryan anymore. I'm like, listen, your opinion is yours to have, opinions are like buttholes. Everybody's got them and some of them stink. And I'm okay with that. You're allowed to have that opinion. But if I did not care for the boy, I would not have expectations and concerns about him. And, if I purely just looked at him for entertainment, I would be like, burn them bridges, ruin your life, but I really care for the boy, want to see him to do well. That's why I go, are we okay? Do you notice what you said? Have you picked up on this pattern? And so I'm, and sadly I am trained in the capacity to be concerned about those things. Even though I'm not giving medical advice and not billing anymore, but I do have insight. And so, but normally if you run across somebody that's Creek Squad, it's going to be somebody that will stop and change your tire and then give you $10 gas money and follow you home to make sure you get home safely. Those are Creek Squad people. So, but it got a little weird last year, I'm not going to lie, but I think things are, since like he shed off the people that were causing some issues, I think it's getting healthier. So I'm glad to see him doing better, even though it's painful. And I said it was going to be an awakening. It may be a rude awakening, but it's an awakening, and it sure has been for him. But I think he's doing better. And if he doesn't have another cycle and hit another massive speed bump in the next 6 months, then we know that was the problem. If he hits another massive speed bump and has another big brain fart, then we know he still has work to do on himself as he grows. And we all have work to do, but he may have more things he needs to work on. Time will tell. That's not me being mean. That's me looking at a human and saying that's a human being that's growing and learning in their environment as their environment changes. And he has a very unique environment. So I know it was great. I loved the older country vibe of that song. I liked it. I liked it a lot. So I was pleased to hear heart instead of aggression. I was happy to hear heart. So, okay, I need to shut up. My dog needs to pee. So, somber day, but not a tearjerker, y'all. You know, if you want to send me good vibes and good energy, I appreciate it. But this is just my kind of way of telling you how it hit me and how I processed it. And maybe it's going to be a good way for somebody to say, hey, I need to sit down and talk to my family about this, because I do have a big anxiety about this, or a big fear about this, or a big concern, or I have questions, or I need to know more, or I have curiosities. You know, educate yourself, put wrinkles in your brain, and build who you want to be and build your ideology. But make sure that when you stick that into your soul, as that's part of your being, make sure that you are committed to it and you're not just borrowing from other people. Make sure that you're really doing your research and creating who you want to be and what you want to believe, and not just following someone blindly. So do your research, you know. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. I love you guys. Thank you for always being a source of strength. And like, I don't know, you're just like, I feel like I've sat down with my friends at the coffee table and had a cup of tea, or at the kitchen table and had a cup of tea, and just kind of hammered out some crap every time I come on here. So thank you all so much. I will check for that message later and I'll get back with you. Gypsy, I will see you soon. And to everybody else, go hug your loved ones today, because tomorrow's not promised. And make sure that they know you love them. So be happy. We're only given so many days. Make them good ones. Oh, be a turd every once in a while, but keep the turd time to a limit. Okay, bye guys.